the news is lots of stuff going on, but it looks like this vaccine passport's on its way. They're saying that May 1st is going to be the first rollout for this vaccine passport. What they're intending on, for example, we got this from Governor Josh Green. He's saying that May 1st is going to be the first initial rollout date for inter-island travel. So if inter-island travel, of course, that means if you're going from island to island, if you've got a valid vaccine passport, and they're going to be coming up with some apps that can hold that and show that, etc. We're going to wait. They haven't given us details, but presumably it's some kind of an app. You'll be able to travel inter-island without having to go to be quarantined. Which is great. And of course, following on with that, they're going to be doing lost my train of thought here, the vaccine passport for trans-Pacific travel. If you're coming from the U.S. mainland or from elsewhere, landing in Hawaii, if you have a vaccine passport, they're planning on, if you can show that, you'll be able to skip quarantine. There's not a firm date on that yet, but they are saying that's going to happen sometime in the summer. The name of the game, as always, is planning. Make sure you do planning. Maui, I want to hear more details about this one, Heidi, because Maui is doing a secondary test. They're implementing a mandatory secondary test upon arrival for trans-Pacific flights, meaning that if you are traveling from the mainland directly to Maui, that's a trans-Pacific or trans-Pac flight. Trans-Pacific travelers arriving in Kahului Airport will soon be required to undergo a mandatory secondary COVID-19 rapid test upon arrival, or face a mandatory 10-day quarantine. And apparently my understanding about that is the county of Maui will be paying for that secondary test. What Dylan mentioned earlier, things are coming back to quote unquote normal, and the surge in tourism arrivals looks like it. The bookings are cranking up. One of the CEOs of a prominent travel company said, we haven't seen travel demand for Hawaii this strong for over a year. Our vaccines are on their way. We're going to hit 1 million doses now. I think Hawaii's population is, 1.4 million people in the state, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but that's about right. Someone do a Google search and throw that number out to me, but I think that's about right. And we're going to be crossing over that threshold. And you look at my graphs over here on the right-hand side, those graphs are, the top one is the cases and the bottom one is the fatalities. And you can see that looks like the fatalities are not tracking anymore with the cases. We'll see how that goes in a little bit more time to kind of verify that to see. Final story here. Residents take back the beach. So what's going on is interesting. This is to Dylan's point that as things come back to normal, what that also means is crowded beaches. And so we residents, we were kind of spoiled because we had the beaches all to ourselves. And now that the beaches are getting crowded, apparently it's not going over so well. And Maui, there was actually a demonstration in Maui, a peaceful demonstration. Demonstrators gathered peacefully on Wailea Beach on Saturday to send a message to government and tourism officials that the tourism management is sorely needed. So it looks like we got some people that are upset that their beaches are much more crowded than they used to be. And that's kind of what's going on with that. So I think that's basically the end of the news over here. And what I like to do is maybe do a quick roundup on this, on anything news related that we have to report on. First of all, Heidi, did you catch that story about the residents, the peaceful demonstration in Wailea about, take back our beach? Have you heard about that at all? Or is there anything else that you want to report on that happened in Maui over the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's really exciting that tourism is returning and we're welcoming back visitors. But there is some fear too, still with COVID and all these vacation rentals, they're turning over so quickly. And cleaners need a chance to go in and clean and implement all the COVID protocols and everything. So it's really kind of a balance of welcoming visitors, but also being safe and protecting the families that live here too on Maui and are out there working. And it's been such a dramatic difference in the amount of tourism from last year in the middle of the pandemic to now. So I think it's just kind of an adjustment for everybody. But for the most part, people are here and vacationing and super happy and loving it. I would say that's the majority. This secondary test could be complicated for people if they have a negative COVID test, fly here, somehow get a positive COVID test when they arrive. I mean, I'm not sure how that's going to go. So anyway,
It's gonna suck if it happens. Thanks, Heidi. Um, Scott, any news updates on Oahu, not real estate related, over the past couple of weeks that you wanted that I missed on, or that you think are significant to report about?
I don't think newsworthy. I mean, when I was looking, I think we're about 40% of where we were pre-COVID as far as number of tourists coming here.
That's what I've heard too, something like that.
But man, it feels busy when I'm out and about, and even the traffic. I mean, I had someone I'm working with. We were showing out on the Leeward Coast, and it took an hour and a half to get out there the other day just for the showing appointment. So traffic's back. The locals are back to work at a more regular pace. Construction's picked up. Tourists are here, so it feels almost normal at this point from that capacity of busyness and traffic patterns.
I mean, I think, when you have it where basically Waikiki goes from ghost town, nobody there, just like, it's like one of those, dystopian kind of flicks, right? Where, everyone's dead. I shouldn't even say it that way, but where everyone's gone, and now all of a sudden 40%, it's packed. Dylan, any news on the Big Island that you want to report on that occurred over the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, Hawaii County is going to start a pilot program for Trans-Pacific travelers. So that's something to look into if you're looking to travel from outside of the U.S. So that, I guess, is going to run through May 1st. They're starting like a pilot program to start that process. So that should be interesting. And then the other big news for me is that my younger son went back to school full time this week. So that's been,
man,
he's super stoked about that. The older one's still at home, but yeah, so the elementary school is starting to, it doesn't seem like it's like highly publicized, and each school seems like they're doing it on a different schedule, but Konoana Elementary went back to school full time this week, and so far so good.
Yeah, excellent. That's it seems that life is kind of coming back to normal. That's kind of what it smells like.